Paltrocast.
So, Tim, I'm going to say good afternoon. I'm assuming it's the afternoon where you are. How's your day going aside from talking to reporters who ask the same questions over and over and over again?
Not a problem when they ask questions. It's a problem when they stop asking questions.
Oh, I see what you did there. Well,
No,
appreciate
it's good. We're in Orange Beach, Alabama, day 36 of not sleeping in our own beds. We're out riding highways, crashing in shitty hotels, some nice ones, but yeah, tearing up pavement, baby. Let's go.
the rock and roll dream of highs and lows and highs and lows. But speaking of highs, Savage is coming out soon. When did you actually finish Savage?
Single or record?
Well, the record, of course.
Yeah, so we finished it. I recorded it over Christmas break. Like we put all the finishing touches on it.
Oh,
So I think we were done by like end of January with mixing and mastering and all that stuff. So
did you have the label attached the whole time, or is it that you shopped it while making the record?
no, we were. I've been with BMG Music Knox for 3 years now, and I kept turning in my country rock, country stuff, and it never worked. And then I moved to Montana at some point in the summer of 2023 and was like, hey, here's a rock song called Devil. See you guys. I'm out of Nashville. And by God, they put it on the radio, and by God, it exploded. And here we are.
Yeah, it's the opposite of an overnight success story because all the Letterman stuff was what, 15 years ago?
2008. Yeah.
And Letterman is one of the most synonymous celebrities with Montana. But now it seems like more people are moving to Montana than ever, not just him and John Mayer. Is Nikki Sixx out there these days?
Nikki's in Wyoming. There's a ton in the Bozeman Airport. You'll see more celebrities than LA and Nashville combined.
Huey Lewis is there?
Yeah, Huey Lewis has been there a long time. Michael Keaton has been there a long time. Steven Seagal was there. I think he might have moved back. Letterman's
in Russia now.
Yeah, Letterman's got 2 properties up there. I mean, Montana is wild. I think Taylor Kitsch, is that how you say his last name? The actor.
Yeah,
he's up there. I mean, if you want to go celebrity spotting, just go to the Bozeman Airport. It's pretty funny.
The reason I bring that up is growing up as a kid in New York, when you want to talk about the middle of nowhere, one of your go-tos might be Montana. And nowadays, it seems like there's more happening there than there is here in New York.
Yeah, I think Yellowstone was a big part of that resurgence. Not resurgence, I mean, new growth in Montana. And a lot of the locals absolutely hate it. And I was looking for an opportunity to get back pretty much since I moved out. And then this Wise River Club thing popped up. And I was like, this might be my only shot. And I have such a big connection to the Big Hole Valley and the Big Hole River. And it's 50 miles from where I grew up. So I bought it with Billy Gibbons in August of 2023. So finally we got to plant our roots back in Montana, and we got a business up there. So I'm glad we were able to get it before it's, the whole state's bought up. So
now Billy is forever associated with Kid Rock. Does your tie with Kid Rock happen because of Billy, or is that just happenstance?
Completely random, unrelated. Yeah, I've hung out very few times in the room with both of those guys, maybe once or twice, So I met Billy through the Boston Red Sox theme song. A friend of a friend sent it to him. And then I met no, say hi. You want to get on the podcast with me? Johnny from Stain.
What is up?
Johnny from Stained. I was just interviewing Mike a couple of weeks ago. Johnny, looking forward to seeing you at Jones Beach in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully we're going to make the gig today. It's pretty windy and rainy out there, but hopefully
and King Britton is a good human being. We'll put that on the record.
All right. Hey, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So you're going to say hello, peace, and have a great night.
That's what the tour's been like. Everybody's just...
We're going to punch each other.
Yeah, these guys are going to do karate. Everyone's like, are you and the other bands getting along? I'm like, yeah, famously, like really well.
Well, I think that kind of proves the point that the angrier the music, the nicer and more relaxed the people are off stage.
1,000,000%, dude. I have never been on a country tour where all the headliners reach out that don't know you weeks before asking if there's anything they can do for you. Do you need anything? Do you want to use our dressing room? And I'm like, whoa. This is really weird. And my wife brought up the point. She's like, Isn't it funny how your country star buddies? Now, granted, let me preface this with a lot of them are really good guys. Some of my best friends are in country, but she's like, isn't it funny how all the country star guys claim to be good old boys and they're good old douchebags, and all the rock star dudes you're meeting are actually good old boys?
Okay, so if you do that list of the country metal people going back and forth, that latest Five Finger Death Punch single is DMX, but they did the stuff with Brantley Gilbert, and you have Aaron Lewis from Stained going back and forth between the metal and the country, and your buddy Kid Rock is going back and forth. Have you always been into both the heavier stuff and country?
Yeah, I've been mainly like, I grew up in grunge, like no doubt about it. It was 99% grunge and 1% outlaw country, like Waylon, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Charlie Daniels, but preface on, or, the most that I listened to was grunge. And if you go back, everyone's like, "Oh, you're switching from country." I'm like, country music never let me in. I was always the odd kid. I always cuss too much. My hair's too long. My beard's too long. And I'm too aggressive and I don't fit the mold and my lyrics weren't right. And rock just grabbed me and scooped me up. And it's kind of like, I wish I had gone over sooner, but the timing wasn't right because there's this rock resurgence right now. Um, but it's really interesting. If you go back, Tim Montana and the Shrednecks, like go listen to Nice Boy on that independent record I made. That was a hard rock album that was going on, 7 years ago. So I'd always like put out an edgy country rock record and then a rock record. And then finally something stuck, with Devil You Know. So
Before you were a grunge guy, were you a Van Halen Motley Crue person?
not really. I was CCR, ZZ Top, then Guns N' Roses, then I jumped into grunge. I kind of missed the hair metal thing. It wasn't really for me. The glam stuff was not my thing.
Because I find that most of the country artists today, it really just sounds like Mutt Lang produced records with a fake Southern accent out the front of it.
Right, right. Yeah.
But hey, back to you and Savages. So, how far ahead are you looking in terms of touring? Like, for example, whether or not it's announced, do you know the next year and a half you're pretty much on the road?
The next major tour we have is Bush, Jerry Cantrell, and Candlebox in July. We just picked up a really, really cool January, February. I can't tell you with who because it's not announced yet, but we're going to be covering most of America on that one. Wintertime touring. But that's going to be a good one. So I know at least through February next year what's going on, and it is busy, busy, busy. And I'm trying to run the business in Montana, and I got the hot sauce business I run, but I actually do better at that stuff on the road because I'm not distracted. I'm in the van, put in a earpiece, and just get to work. So
Got it. Are you able to write material when you're on the road?
man, not really. I'll come up with some ideas, but I'm the driver as well. So I do all the driving. And I got a CDL passenger endorsement. I did all my driver school training, so I'm pretty busy on the phone and driving and doing so safely. Hey, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to really take time and block it. Like when I get off this tour, I go to Montana. I have 2 or 3 days off, and then I got Billy Gibbons, my record producer, coming up, and we're just gonna lock up in a cabin in the woods and just write. So that's my favorite spot to do it, is out in the middle of nowhere. You're not distracted, step away from the building. Hopefully you get charged by a bear. It's pretty metal.
Is your insistence on driving, is that kind of like how Bruce Dickinson insists on flying the Iron Maiden plane?
I don't sleep when other people drive. And I'm like, if I'm going to be awake and miserable, I'm going to drive. And my manager and agent hate it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not at the point where I can afford the level of driver that I'm going to sleep with. Not sleep with like that. I mean, maybe if they're that good, I'll sleep with them. But
Wow.
it's like right now, I'm the most qualified driver, and I've done about 10,000 miles of driving in the last 36 days across the country. And, I do all my walk arounds and pre checks and service stuff, and I'm just really into it. And until I can afford a driver that, keeps things at my level, then I'm just going to keep driving because I'm not going to sleep back there.
So what I'm picking up on is you're maybe the hardest working artist that nobody realizes is the hardest working artist, because it's the country artists always have to emphasize, I'm a working hard, working stiff kind of person, just like all of you, but they have no idea that they're just sitting in a tour bus. In your case, you're humping the gear and driving and writing the stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and running the other businesses. So the Wise River Club is a lot. I get called. My nephew's the GM, but he'll call me quite a bit with stuff we need. Like this weekend, we had a snowstorm that shut down the Bozeman Pass, so I had to call another food supplier because we were running out of food at the restaurant. Slash, we got an order for our hot sauce to go to HEB. We need to source new labels, so I'm calling the label company to get it shipped to the manufacturer in Louisiana to ship the pallet to Texas. So I mean, I enjoy it. I'm I'm a workaholic, and if I create all this chaos, so it's not like, oh, look at poor me, I work so hard. It's like, no, I enjoy it. It keeps me on my toes. And then when I get home, I got 4 kids and 5 siblings.
Wow. Okay. Well, time is obviously money with you. So 2 quick questions and then I let you go. And the first one is whenever you have a certain name or your album's named a certain thing, you find that fans and people and collectors give you memorabilia. And your last name, let's face it, there's Joe Montana, there's Hannah Montana, there's Tony Montana.
Tony!
Yeah. Well, there's also the Tony Montana in the band Great White. I think he's maybe
Right.
Tony Montana. But do people give you Montana stuff all the time because of all those associations?
Yeah, I get a lot of Montana stuff. And I take it all. I love Montana stuff. I'm a big Western history guy, and I'm a third or fourth generation Montanan. I mean, my grandfather hung one of the first clock towers at the University of Montana. I mean, our family's been there a long time, so I'm very much into the history. And I hide little Montana artifacts in all my artwork that a lot of people don't know about.
Wow. Okay. So I guess the thing to learn from that is just keep watching and looking closely at everything that Tim does, and you'll get a hidden message eventually, like 3D art.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the new TM logo very closely and tell me if you see numbers buried within the TM logo. And then Google those numbers and tell me what those numbers mean.
Oh, my mind is blown. Well, last question, and then for reals, you go now. Okay. We mentioned the trillion jobs you have and that you're a workaholic, but what do you do with that energy when you get off stage? How does Tim Montana decompress?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't like not having stuff to do. My mind and shutting my mind off is hard. And I quit drinking a couple years ago, and now it's worse. Like I do more. My wife's like, "Oh my god, is it either alcoholic or workaholic?" Before I used to use whiskey to shut my brain off, and now it just doesn't shut off. Decompress. I mean, when I get out in the woods, honestly, get up in the mountains, Montana, no cell service, no one can reach me. I mean, there's something very spiritual and about hunting and fishing for me. I mean, I'm not a sport guy as much as I was a necessity guy growing up before. Like you filled your tag to eat for the year, and I still kind of live by that, you know. And when I get out in the woods, I feel like I actually get song ideas, and it's non-polluted ideas. There's nothing around, so probably getting out in nature is really where I can disconnect. And I love where I live in a little town of 44 people in Montana. There's no cell service for 12 miles. So if you're at the house, you have Wi-Fi. If I step 20 yards off my porch, nothing. For as far as you can walk or drive, no cell service.
That is a great answer. Now I know I have homework to do to look closely into the TM logo. But the bottom line is I'm looking forward to the next New York gig, whenever that is, the future touring. Congrats on Savages. And Tim, whether it's you as the entrepreneur, the co-writer, the artist, whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Record Savage is out July 12th. Thank you, guys.
Paltrocast.